Hello everyone and welcome to Module 5. My name is Patricia Montgomery. So first things up, we are going to work on how to convert decimals to fractions. So our first one here is 0.225. So in order to start converting that, we're going to let x equal 225, and then we are going to multiply by the power of 10 that we need in order to make all of those numbers on the right side of the decimal be on the left side. So if you move that decimal over 1, 2, 3 places, then you know we need 3 zeros. So we're going to multiply x there by 1,000. And then we are going to subtract x from both sides. And so when we do that, we get 999x equals 225. Now we're going to solve for x. So we're just going to divide by 999, and you're left with x equals 225 over 999. Now, in order for us to simplify that, we're going to look at the factors that are in common so that we can try to get that down. And so for 225, it's 3, 5, 9, and 15. And then for 999, we can divide by 9. And we're going to be left with 25 over 111. So now we're going to do the same thing for the next part. We're going to do x is 36. And we did that by moving over that decimal 3 times yet again. So we've got 1,000 times x. And subtract that x and get 999x. And so when we solve for x, we will divide by that 999. And we get 36 over 999. So let's simplify. So we know 3 and 9 both go into those, which is going to leave us with 4 over 111. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at these formulas, which represent lines on a graph, and we're going to see what they represent. So for this first one, we have y equals x over 2. So we're trying to figure out what that slope of the line is, which is our rate of change. So ours is 1/2. And for a 1/2 line, this is what we get. So now what we could do is say, what does our 1/2 represent? Well, it could represent for every 1 cookie you sell, then you get to keep, 2% of that. So for every cookie we sell, we're going to keep 2%. So that's going to tell us for each cookie, how much we're going to get to save. And so for this next one, we have y equals negative 1/2 x. And that slope is going to be a negative slope. So this could be for every, this could be for every, so that negative 1/2 could just mean that anything that's decreasing in value, instead of like a second ago, what we did was how much I'm earning. This could be how much you're losing in a business based on how much product you're using for something. So then for this next one, we have y equals 10x. And so our slope is 10 here. So whenever we're going to do this, for every x, it's going to be 10 times that. So this could be for, every time I make a purse and I sell it, I get $10 out of profit for that. So that would show the add up on that really quickly. So then this last one is y equals x squared. So our slope here is x. And this graph is the one that's going to have like a U shape to it, with that vertex being at the bottom right there, and it could go up on either side. So the next thing we're going to do is find the percentage of each picture that is colored red. So to do this, the first thing you need to do is find out how many parts are there in your picture. So for this square here, we can tell that we have these 4 big triangles, but we see that our shaded part is half of one of those. So we're going to go through and we're going to cut all 4 of those in half, so we have 8 parts. So out of those 8 parts, we want to know how many of them are shaded. We only have 1 that is shaded. So when you make that into a fraction, you're going to do shaded parts over whole parts. So our fraction start out as 1/8. Now we are going to multiply that by 100 because that's how much a percentage is. And when we do that, we get 12.5 or 12.5%. So of this square, 12.5% of it is shaded. Now for this next one, we're going to look at how many parts we have again. And we have 9 squares, but we have this one that's in half here. So we're just going to go ahead and make them all in half. So instead of 9, we have 18 parts. And of those 18 parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 shaded parts. And so we're going to make that 7 over 18 times 100 gives us 38.9%. Now, for this last one, it's kind of cool because we're used to all these, squares, triangles, all these geometric shapes that are like very precise. This one has this cool squiggly line, the yin yang sign, but we know by looking at it that these 2 parts are still equal. And since we have 2 parts and one of them is shaded in, then we know half of our circle here is shaded, which would be 50%. So we're going to use that percentage again, but this time we're trying to see out of all these shapes what they represent of this yellow hexagon in the middle. So our yellow hexagon we see is 100%. So if we want to start with this trapezoid over here, we can tell that 2 of those trapezoids looks like it'll fit in there. And if it's going to take 2, then you could take 100 and divide it by 2 and you're going to get 50%. So that's 50%. Well, then I try to think, okay, well, what's something that would fit into that trapezoid that'd make it easy to calculate? And this little green triangle over here is going to fit into that trapezoid. It looks like 3 times. So we know that 2 of those fit. So 3 times 2 is going to give us 6. And then, so 100 divided by 6 will give us that 16.67% down there. So those 2 are done. Now, the square looks like it might be a little difficult to put in, so I'm going to save it closer to the end. And then this little tan piece looks like it could fit in a lot of weird places too. So I'm going to go ahead and do this blue rhombus right here. So one way you can look at it is this green triangle. Looks like it's 2 of those. So if there's 6 here, then there's 12 here. But also, or 12 would be the other way. It's actually 6 divided by 2 because we're going bigger, not smaller. So it would be 3. So 100 divided by 3 is 33.3%. So then these last 2 we can kind of guesstimate. And since this square looks like it would fit 1, 2, like 3 or 4, kind of times, like kind of looks like the 4 area, then I'm going to look at these last 2 percentages we have, which is 38.5 or 19.2. And I'm going to go with that 38.5 on that square because that 4 would be just over this 3 that we already did with this rhombus. And so that looks like it would make the most sense. And then that leaves 19.2% for the last one. Now, here is going to be some fun ones. So this is 3 of the common types of percentage problems that we see when we do word problems. And so for the first one, it says you're going to find the percent given A and B and what percent B or P of B is. So I'm going to do, if I have 10 toys, which in this instance, I've got little yo-yos. If I have 10 toys and I give 5 of them to my friends, what percentage of toys did I give away? So you're just going to do 5, goodness gracious. So I took away half of my toys because 5 divided by 10 is 2. I took away half my toys. And so we're going to do 100 divided by 2, which is 50. So 50% there. And then on the second one, it says, find the part. Given A% P and the whole B, what is A if it is P% of B? So if I have 4 pieces of candy and I only want to give 25% of it to a friend, how many pieces of candy would it be? So we know if you take 100 and you divide it by 4, then you're going to get 25%. So 25% is just going to be that one piece right there, because that's how many times the fraction 1/4 of 100 is, would be 1/4 of a candy. So 1 piece of candy. And then for this last one, it says find the whole given a part A that is P% of whole B. What is the whole B? So if I gave the class 25% of this week's assignments today, and they received 2 assignments, how many total assignments are we having this week? So to do that, I need to figure out what my fraction of 25% is. So 25 over 100 is going to be 1/4, just like we were just doing with this candy. And so 1/4 is the fraction I'm going with. But now I only know that we have 2 assignments, and I'm trying to figure out what the whole number here is. So I would take that 2 and multiply it by 4 to get 8. So we have 8 assignments this week. So this has probably happened to you at some point or another, and it happened to me just a couple weeks ago for the holidays. So I'm going to make cookies for a potluck with 30 people, but the cookie recipe I have is only for 15 people. So how do I double my recipe? Well, given that for one batch, we need 1/2 cup of sugar, so we're going to do 1/2 cup times 2, which is 2 over 2, which we know we can simplify to just 1 cup of sugar. And then for eggs, you just do 1 times 2 is 2. But then for the flour, we have 3/4, and we want 2 times that. So we can either do, 2 3/4, or we could do 6 1/4. But you could also simplify it and do 1 cup and then 2/4 of a cup or 1/2 cup. So I hope y'all enjoyed that and have a good day. Thank you.